What's going on, guys? We haven't done a video in a little while, so I just want to get right into it. I want to start by saying that a lot of what we reference here in this video is drawn heavily from an article that my friend Josh Buckley did for the War Journal a while back called The Root of All Evil. We're going to link to it down here. I hope you guys take the time to read it after you watch this video because there's a lot of really good stuff in there. What I wanted to talk to you guys about today is the importance of changing our approach and our philosophy to the concept of money. We live in a world where money, if not all of the power, it makes up a great deal of the power in this world that we have to live in. That fact and that statement is something kind of like natural law or a natural disaster. It doesn't require our tacit approval or whether we like it or not to be true. It just is true. We can value other things, and we should value other things above money. Things like honor, loyalty, respect, strength, all this stuff. But to reject the concept of money as power is kind of the same as these guys on the internet who are always talking shit about guys who spend a lot of time in the gym. You know, they reject the importance of physical fitness because they don't have it. It comes from a place of resentment and inferiority. You know, they imply that if you lift weights a lot, you're either stupid or you're doing it from an inferiority complex on some level or another. And what they also do is they try to create this nobility of sacrifice as though they're too spiritual to care about money or they're too noble to care about money. But really, it is that they are not good at acquiring it. It is an inferiority of their own that makes them speak from resentment, and that almost all the time when people talk shit about people who are fit, who make money, it's from that same place. It's from a sense of personal inferiority. It's also strange that in the circles that I run in, the idea of making money is very unpopular. It means that you're a sellout or that you only care about making money or all this stuff from guys who call themselves pagans or heathens or whatever. They're rejecting worldly power. They're rejecting these concepts of temporal might in favor of some numinous truth, some spiritual truth or afterlife or whatever, which to me sounds incredibly Christian. It sounds very Eastern. So if we understand these concepts when we start going into it, and we understand that this behavior of rejection is largely based out of a concept of inferiority or the lack of the ability to attain a thing, what we have to do is ask the question, what is money? What is our concept of money? The first thing that I look at, and one of the first things that I looked at when I started actually setting out to make it, was the concept in the very first rune in the 24 Elder Rune Row. For those of you who are not familiar, the very first rune in what's called the Elder Futhark, the first 24 that we have, is Fehu. And it represents cattle. But more than that, it represents a man's mobile wealth. What his liquid assets are. Also personal power and so on and so forth. But in this context, it represents his wealth. His ability to create change and also power and freedom in the temporal world. It also represents the idea that through the rune poem, if you want to get more deeply into that, you can watch some of my other videos, but it represents the idea of almost circuitry and energy running through it in the idea that it has to flow in order to be made. One has to be open-handed with it. But that these ideas of energy and viewing money less as a thing to hoard, a thing to want to have and to hold on to, and to stop viewing it as this dirty thing, but to say, look, what it is an energy source. Because if you don't have it, you will become dependent on someone who does. In one way or another, guys. You are either going to be dependent on the state, or you are going to be dependent on friends or acquaintances of yours who are good at making it. The other thing that you could become dependent on is a absolute wage slavery in the truest sense of the word, in which you will trade all of your time and just scramble constantly in order to make just enough money to get by. Which means you are dependent on another human being for your room and board. which means you are a slave in the true sense of the word. What we need to do is free ourselves up from this concept, because this is speaking as somebody who, I understand the concept of passion and having passion and purpose with no money. You know, I typified the idea for a long time of the starving artist. You know, I played music, I was a writer, all this kind of stuff. And I had the purpose part, I had the passion part down, but I didn't realize that in order to make that actionable, I had to have something driving it. You know, if you have this holy mission, if you have this greater function, this greater purpose that you want to achieve, you have to start viewing money as like the army that your crusade is driven by. You know, what is money? This is a perfect place to talk about it, because, you know, here's what money is. This is what money is. Money is a wrench. It is a way to free up the locking mechanism between you and your goals, wherever you're trying to go, whatever you're trying to get at. Because you can have all the passion and purpose in the world, but you need to have the energy source to put into it in order to make that thing happen. You know, I did tree work for a long time too. I worked as a fucking wage slave. I worked from 7 in the morning to sometimes 9 or 10 o'clock at night with my brother. And we broke our fucking ass off. And at the end of the week, we didn't have anything to show for it except we paid our bills. And we realized we were slaves to this guy that we worked for. You know, and that's no discredit to him, because he had made his way in the world. He had done what he wanted to do. So what we have to look at, and what I want to really just underline in this first video, and we're going to do some more of these, but money is power and freedom. It is not some dirty thing to be avoided. It is something to be sought out in the same way that we seek out physical fitness and physical power. We should be powerful in every area of our lives, guys. And the way to do that is to make ourselves physically fit, but also to achieve and to seek out that strength and that power in the rest of our life. Because without that freedom, we can't do any of the other things that we need to do. You know, I recently just went on an 8,400-mile motorcycle trip with some friends of mine, and there was a lot of other friends that I wanted to go along, but they couldn't. They couldn't have those adventures because they were too tied into their job. So this is the first thing to consider, is that rebel souls, those individuals who are trying to live for a greater purpose, they need to view money as power and freedom in order to free themselves from the shackles of this world, and in order to be able to have those adventures, those experiences, and to be able to take that purpose and make it actionable. This is what I want to drive home to you with this video. In the next video, we're going to talk a little bit more about some strategies, and I'm going to lay out some ways that I think that you can start to free yourself up. But for now, I want you to read this article, and I want you to start changing your perception and your philosophy about what money is, so that we can get that out of the way in order to start talking about how we're going to get free. There's going to be an email link down here below the video that I want you guys to click on and put your name on this list, because if you are interested in more of these strategies of power and freedom, I'm going to take that list and I'm going to target you guys with that list. And so that we're going to get into some heavier duty stuff here down the road. I want you guys to sign up, because I don't want you to miss out on any of this stuff, because I want you guys to attain more temporal power, because I want you to be able to accomplish whatever it is that you're going for. So put your name on the list, share the article around, check the video out, share it with your friends, and we'll be dropping the next one in October, and we're going to have some concepts in order to make this shit actionable and get you guys out there and working towards getting freed up. Fiscal